Hey guys, this is Adam, this is Beanie, and this is the Lensball. Let's go. Alright, so I wanted to do a video on the Lensball today, and basically I got it about a week ago, and so far it's going really well. It comes in a little pouch, and it's pretty heavy. This is the larger one. There's two versions. This one is, I think, 90mm, and it's pretty cool. The quality I thought was really good when I first got it. It's very spherical, but the important thing to do is always keep it in the bag when you're not using it, because even for like a few seconds, the light coming from up there, or the sun, for instance, if you're outside, can really hit it on the ground, hit it hard, and can start a fire. It is honestly quite dangerous, so always keep it in the bag. So what I found useful for it so far is, basically, I find it if someone else is holding the Lensball for me, and then I can go over the shoulder and reposition it slightly if necessary. That's really useful. You can also put it down on the ground, and you know, just let it go there. You can edit out the hand later on as well if you want to, and that really you know, can make a big difference to the final image. I think so far in the day I've had a few good shots and a few not so good shots, particularly with the reflection of the light that you necessarily don't want. You just want the image inside the Lensball. And I found if you take an umbrella and you hold it over the source light, the main light, then that can really reduce those reflections on the Lensball itself, and that makes a big difference. But in the evening, what I'm going to show you today is my edit of a sunset in West Kirby, and basically it's the first evening time that I've really used the Lensball, and it's made such a difference. Obviously there's no light from the sky. It's all kind of you know, right along the sunset, and it makes a big impact on the final image, as you'll see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to jump in to Lightroom. So, oh, by the way, before I do that, feel free to subscribe to my Instagram. It's getting some more followers, so I really appreciate that. Thanks again for, you know, watching all the videos and following on my Instagram channel. I try and post now twice daily, all different kinds of shots, travel shots from my hometown, with the Lensball as well. So what I'm going to do is, this is the final image that I posted, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I got to this. So I've gone into the development module, and first thing that I did was I flipped the image. So originally this is actually the bottom half, and this is the top half. When you take a picture through the Lensball, it will always be upside down. So it will always, this was how it was originally, and I decided to flip it. It's fine to flip it, I think, if there's not much in the way of you know, foreground, where it's not going to make too much of a difference. It's quite abstract, there's not much detail in it. There's a lot of detail, then it looks really obvious and it just doesn't seem to work as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I always start with what I can actually use to go on Instagram. So I put a 4:5 crop on it, and just take out some of the hand, because that's not really that useful. We want the focus to mainly be on the Lensball itself, and I'm going to hit it in the top corner like the rule of thirds. Works pretty well. So I'm going to do about that. And if you want to flip the image, by the way, it's Command or Control plus the right or left bracket keys next to the P, and that will just flip it for you. You can flip just the Lensball, which I'll cover off in another tutorial, and that's obviously important if there is more detail in the background. I need to get the detail in the background in the image, but for this I'm just going to flip the whole image. And let's have a look. So the first thing, well, after I crop the image, I'm also gonna add a bit of dehaze. Obviously this is around 7 o'clock in the evening, so there's a bit of clarity in the sky and the clouds, so I'm just gonna drop the highlights all the way and just really bring out the detail in the sunlight here and in the clouds. And I'm also going to add a little bit of dehaze as well. Again, this is affecting the whole image at the moment, not just what's in the Lensball. And then I'm also going to really impact on the colours and really bring up the vibrance to about there, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, and then you can see the impact on the sky. So this is what we've done so far. No, that's the final image. This is the before. And you can see it already has made that difference so far to the blues as well. So next thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to affect colour, and I'm not going to do this using the hue, saturation, luminance. What I'm going to use instead is the tone curve. So regarding the tone curve, quick lesson on it, RGB will affect the lightness and darkness of particular parts of the tonal range. So you've got the blacks, the highlight, the shadows, the midtones, the highlights and the whites. So if I raise the midtones from here, it's going to brighten the midtones. If I darken it, it's going to darken the midtones. In this case though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an individual colour channel, and I'm going to look at the greens. Now I'm not going to input any green into the image. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take away some greens from a particular part. In this case I'm going to take it away from the highlights around here. And if you look at a colour wheel, the opposite of green on the colour wheel is magenta. So that's where this pink is going to come in. So I'm just going to reduce that to maybe about there for now. And the tone curve is really, really powerful. I'd strongly suggest doing, looking at that and really learning about that in your own development. It makes such a difference. I'm just going to come back to RGB, and I'm also going to again reduce the highlights even further than I did in the first adjustments. So yeah, that will do there. Again, just slight differences, slight tweaks can make a big difference on here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to affect the radial, just specifically what's in this Lensball. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to hold shift, and I'm just going to draw outwards, and then I'm going to move it. Obviously that's not enough, so let's bring it a bit more. And then I'm just going to place it on here, maybe just slightly more on there. And then if you hit L, you'll see what's being affected. So at the moment it's a little bit more, there's a bit of a feather on here, and you do want a bit of a feather because if you don't have the feather on here, then it's going to basically be too circular, too much of an edge. So there's a bit of feather, not too much. This is what's going to be affected. I'm going to do it here is I'm going to again bring down the highlights, and this will again bring back detail specifically around the clouds and the sunset and the rays of the sunset as well. So I'm going to put that to about there. I'm going to increase the clarity further so that it really makes the clouds stand out and really emphasises that sunset and that the colour as well. Again, with regards to colour, I'm going to not do this too much. I don't want to look oversaturated, too enhanced. And then finally I'm just going to add some sharpness as well to finish this part off. And yeah, I'm happy with that. That's before and that's after the local adjustments have been applied. And then finally, again, I don't need to do anything regarding colour of the shadows or the highlights. I feel as though it is impacted enough. And what I'm going to do is come right down to calibration, and I'm just going to shift where the hue of the blue is. And then once I've set that to about there, I'm going to increase the saturations in that particular hue of the blues. So again, it's enhanced there as well. And that's about all I need to do really on this image. So what I'm going to do is, again, you know, this is the final piece of it. I'm just going to go back and show you the original. So this was the original here, and then I've just made some local adjustments, affected the highlights, brought out the greens of the highlights to make it more magenta, and that's about it really. So I hope you enjoyed the edit. If you did, please hit like and feel free to subscribe as well. It really helps my channel, and I really appreciate your support as well. If you are considering getting the Lensball, I'll put a link in the description as well. Definitely check it out. It's definitely added a whole new element of photography to my images. Sometimes if you want something a little bit different, maybe stand out, it's well worth it. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.